And that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Practical Christian Mysticism. MarkTWitten.com. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to give a brief explanation of what Christian mysticism actually is. And so, I'm going to do my best just to kind of explain this in terms that are palatable to people that may not really understand that. First off, I want to say it is not New Age. It's ancient, actually. So basically, mysticism or Christian mysticism is the process by which individuals seek and achieve union with God. That is in thought, word, deed, fellowship or communion with God, power, and influence. Mysticism comes from the Greek word mysterion, and we can find it all throughout the scriptures. It's Paul used it in 1 Corinthians, he used it in Ephesians, Colossians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 Timothy. John used it in Revelation. It's all over the Bible, including Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Jesus used that as well in the Synoptic Gospels when he was talking about the mysteries of the kingdom of God.
Mysterion means secret or hidden wisdom or mystery. And it's not in the context of where it's exclusive or only set aside for a few select, individuals, which is what Gnostic believers would tend to think. It basically means that this secret wisdom, this hidden knowledge is available, but it's tucked away
and concealed in a sense, and preserved basically for those who are willing and diligent to seek Him through faith to find those mysteries. And it's those mysteries that we uncover, that we unravel through our pursuit of God and His pursuit of us, that bring us into that place of union, or mystical union, that a lot of the ancient church fathers spoke of, including, St. John of the Cross, Teresa of Avila, Bernard of Clairvaux. So again, mysticism is the process by which individual believers seek and achieve union with God. And I'm just going to read off a few of my notes. And when I say union with God, we're talking about the John 17:21 reality, where Jesus says, the Father is in me and I am in you and we are in Him. And so it's like this spiritual entanglement, and the mystery is that we have to search that matter out so that we can figure out how not only we enter into that process, but how we participate in that process. So the whole idea of Christian mysticism is to determine the activity or the way that we cooperate with God in order to fully participate in His divine nature. As 2 Peter 1:4 talks about how we get to be partakers of His divine nature. It's interesting, in Greek Orthodoxy or Eastern Orthodoxy, they call this process divinization.
Not divination, but divinization, the process of becoming divine.
And that ultimate achievement is something known as theosis, is where theosis is basically union with God.
Where you have become by grace what He is by nature. You have become by grace what He is by nature.
And so we partake in His nature by grace or divine enablement to become one with God. And so basically that's what Christian mysticism is all about. It's that process of becoming like God, in unison with God, in thought and word and deed, being so close with the Lord that we actually are, it's like an overlay. If you've ever seen like a weather map, it's like an overlay of the nature of God upon our being, and where we actually get to interact and participate in His nature, participate in His power. That's how sometimes men and women have been used to heal others and to defy the laws of nature.
How we can influence others with our words and our our counsel and our thoughts, is participation in the divine nature. And that's what Christian mysticism is. So the goal of this channel, by and large,
is to introduce people to the practical activities for participating in the nature of God, or in the process of becoming like God. Now, it's very important that you understand that this process of deification, or this process of theosis or Christian mysticism, the goal is not to supplant or overtake the nature of God and become God ourselves. That is not what we're after here. We are participants by His grace, and by His grace alone, in His nature, according to 2 Peter 1:4, that we get to be partakers. It's like it's a partnership with God, and when we submit to Him and become partners with Him,
He in essence transfers His grace, or His enabling power, His nature, to our beings.
And so that's basically what a lot of my videos are going to be about, is how do we take this mysterious process of becoming or partaking in the nature of God, and how do we break it down into steps where we can actually begin to make progress toward deification or theosis, or whatever you want to call it, union with God, the John 17:21 reality. And what's interesting too is that
positionally, lawfully, under the law of Christ, we already are in union with Christ. We are already in union with God.
But we have to wrap our minds around it in such a way that we can begin to actually participate in it. And so, again, that's really the chief aim of many of these video posts that I'm doing on this channel, is to break down the mystery into smaller, digestible bites, so that we can begin to initiate ourselves into the process of the mystery. There's so many things, there's so many aspects and facets of God's nature that we can tap into. It's just unlimited. So I hope this gives you some sort of I know it was a little disjointed, but again, mystery is very hard to quantify or qualify. And so I hope this helps you understand the perspective that I'm taking from this. It's not a new agey thing. It's a very ancient process, whereby we don't just acquire more knowledge about God. We enter into a union of knowing Him and beginning to function as He functions in the earth.
So, anyway, I hope that makes a little bit of sense. If not, I'm sure I'll have some more videos in the future further explaining this, but I wanted to just set that out there for you. Thanks, have a great day.
And that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.